We talk about the resources. I'm super excited. I'm like, hey, listen, I'm going to bring back as much as I can to the team, but I want to know more to be able to better do that. So I'm
You're
excited.
sweet. You're so
Yeah.
kind.
Okay.
Today is the initial launch for this school year. You've not missed anything at all. Tier 1 interventions is not sequential. Any standalone module is good on its own. Welcome, everyone. This is Tier 1 Interventions Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jonily, Zupancic, math specialist. And my co-host is here, co-author, partner in crime, all of those things, Cheri Dotterer, an occupational therapist and neuroscience expert. Our topic today is pattern recognition and talk about how this affects the learning of our students in schools.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Cheri, for those of you who have not met me. I am an occupational therapist. I come to you with 32 plus years of neuroanatomy, neuroscience, kinesiology background, and focusing a lot on sensory processing disorder, ADHD, and how it impacts writing skills. And Jonily found me several years back when we both were initiating writing a book, and I finished mine a little bit before she finished her book, but I have written, and this is my bad working copy, Handwriting Brain Body Disconnect. It's what people have said to me is it's like a Bible for dysgraphia.
Cheri and I are going to have a conversation back and forth. We're going to make some points to help you understand pattern recognition and how much this impacts the learning or lack of learning for our students. You can become better at pattern recognition in two ways. Number one, you're born with it. There is an innate inborn, just like we talk about number sense. Number sense is an innate, inborn, intuitive understanding of the size of numbers. And some of us have a strong number sense, some of us have a weaker number sense. And there is something innate in us when we're born. The same thing is true for pattern recognition. However, there's a continuum of levels. So not everyone is born with the same aptitude for number sense or pattern recognition. Both of these work the same way in learning. Number sense and pattern recognition can be learned, but cannot be explicitly taught. Sometimes when we think, oh my gosh, I taught that to kids. I've told them, I've shown them, I've done this, I've done that, and they're still not getting it. That's why we want you listening to this today, because there are ways that we can improve pattern recognition. And it is only through experiences and very deliberate and intentional delivery of those experiences. It's about the facilitation and delivery. If you have, and I'm just going to bring this out there right now, I wasn't going to, I just now thought of this, but if you have a math textbook and it seems very good with conceptual, intuitive, focusing on number sense and patterns, and kids aren't picking up on it, it's because of the way we're delivering the content, or it's because of the way the textbooks are telling us to deliver the content. We have to be very cautious and deliver the content in an opposite way of explicit and direct, and provide experiences that kids can figure out on their own. And that's really the model of Tier 1 interventions, is to gauge student perspective and to teach to their perspective. Everyone has a schema. A schema is created through our experiences. When kids are at school and we are trying to connect to what we think are their experiences, and we haven't extracted their perspective of experience, we are not making connections and associations for them. The only way that we can improve memory and retention of content by the way that we teach is to connect to a student's personal schema. And their schema is their perspective based on their experience, not the experience that I assume that they have. We know that pattern recognition is a struggle for many of our students that have learning disabilities. Cheri, talk to us about your perspective on pattern recognition. what it means from your perspective, point of view, what it means from your medical field and your neuroscience background.
When I'm doing an assessment on students, a lot of what I am doing is pattern recognition because visuals are the foundation of being able to interpret one's life. Now, we have to combine that with auditory, that I know. But if the visual is not present, the auditory will take over, and then things like echolalia will impact one's life. Think about a typical kid with learning disabilities. One, they might be struggling to identify what is in front of them. Can they understand that it's an A? Can they understand that it's a 5? Do they understand that it's a parentheses? What about this? What do they know about that? Is it something that is intuitive? Is it something that confuses them? The diagonal. It could be representing a fraction. It could be representing specifically a diagonal. It could be representing multiple different things in life.
Cheri, I love this. And just to point out, what Cheri and I call this is a stimulus to stimulate thinking in the classroom. A stimulus has to be as naked as possible. What I mean by that is we remove the noise. The noise is anything that gets in the way or becomes a barrier to learning. Noise like words, noise like questions that prompt answer getting and solving. Kids that play school, they can handle all that noise, the words, the questions, the structure. But the way Cheri just presented this is a perfect example of a stimulus that is going to allow to open up student schema and perspective. They may say, that's my skateboard ramp. They have perspective, and we have to hear and listen to that, and then use responsive teaching to be able to respond to their perspective and align it with what I know that they need to be taught.
Sometimes their perspective takes me off guard. I'm just saying that. It takes me
No,
off guard.
very
And I'm
true.
going,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Don't give me any Pokemon references because I won't get them.
There you go.
But kids will.
Mhm.
Kids will give you Dungeons and Dragons. They will give you Fortnite. They will give you those video games. Angry Birds, that was years ago, but I think Angry Birds is still around. But Angry Birds did use a lot of diagonals
And projection, parabolic. Cheri, gosh, you make a good point. These kids are going to give you what we think are off the wall things. However, how do we respond to that? That's what I mean by responsive teaching. The number one way we need to respond to that is to celebrate their thinking. To celebrate their thinking. We don't want to offshoot it. We don't want to dismiss it. We don't want to disregard it. That is the worst thing we can do, because now you've created a bigger barrier to learning, access to you. Great point, Cheri.
Start with Angry Birds. Hopefully, you know a little bit about Angry Birds that you can take where they are and bring them to where you are. As Jonily and I were talking a lot about pattern recognition, gosh, it's been like 2 years that we've been really delving into what pattern recognition is. We have discovered that there's 3 stages to pattern recognition. The first stage is understanding forms. I just put up a diagonal. The diagonal is a form. I write the word topology there. It is just another word for form. Topology is actually a branch of mathematics. Who knew, right? It's where you take Mr. Incredible and you stretch him, but he's still Mr. Incredible. You twist him around. Gumby. Oh gosh, did that date me? Does anybody remember Gumby?
I know Gumby.
You take Gumby and you twist him around. He's the first version of Mr. Incredible. But looking at forms, think about size, shape, color, and constancy. Constancy is the same shape in different directions.
To make this mathematical connection, we talk about, yes, topology is a complete branch of mathematics. I want to bring another connection there, which is transformations, reflections, rotations, dilations. Dilations is when you scale, make things bigger or smaller, similarly, proportionally. Seventh grade standards, constant of proportionality. The reason I bring those out there is those are not just important for mathematics. There's a reason those are in our math standards. And oftentimes, as math teachers, especially secondary math teachers, we think those are just a check off for our standard. We, as secondary math teachers, do not understand the neuroscience behind why we work on those skills. We may teach transformations, give a quiz on it and a test on it, understand, okay, these kids get it, these kids don't, but we don't have the best instructional delivery on how to help give kids experiences on how to get it. Because when those shapes change size, we know if the line segments are larger, similar by scale, the angle degrees stay the same. Mathematics is the language and the set of rules based on the neuroscience of what Cheri just described.
Not only that, but mathematics and those words that we just talked about, transformation. There's life skills involved. It's not just teaching isolated mathematics. You're teaching a foundation to life skills. And that's what impact is all about. We use an acronym called IMPACT, which is inclusion, metacognition, perseverance, adaptability, confidence, and transcendence. When we're looking at things like transformation, we have to take all 6 of those components together to create a change in our life skill so that we can move forward. So mathematics is a minute piece
Yes.
of that transition of life.
As a math teacher, my background is a secondary mathematics teacher. I am now a math coach consultant. And as Cheri's talking about these other life skills, my perspective of teaching mathematics is I use mathematics standards as the vehicle to teach thinking, reasoning, habits of mind, practices, decision making, problem solving. I use mathematics to teach life. That's the first perspective I think everybody needs to understand as you're listening to the Tier 1 Interventions podcast. And for those of you that are a member of Tier 1 Interventions, we have to understand that there is a mindset, a belief, and a philosophy of how we utilize mathematics if we're going to teach mathematics in this way.
We had it talked about a diagonal, but think about this shape. This shape is the connections of the 2 most easiest pencil strokes to form. So they're connected, but the vertical line and the horizontal line are the easiest pencil strokes to create. And then we just close the box. How many things do we use life skills wise with a square? We teach breathing exercises to kids with a square. Start at the top left, go down, go across, go up and over. We are teaching as we're going down, breathe in, hold it, breathe out, breathe in, hold it, breathe out. The square isn't just a geometric shape. It can get connected to life skills. They use squares to make buildings, so architecture is involved.
There's a bigger mathematical concept that is much more of, I don't want to say a common sense, but something that is so important in logistical businesses, delivery businesses, is how can we make and package our products or make something more square? Because it's much more cost effective because if I create something in more of a square, it's closest to a circle, but still a polygon. I know I'm losing some of you, but what I want you to understand about what we're doing in tier 1 interventions is we are magnifying the most essential and most important mathematics to help us do life better. When you are fencing in your backyard, I don't want to do a 1 foot by 350-foot fencing. I'm going to need a ton of fence to do that, and I'm going to get the least amount of area. But if I make it as much square-like as possible, I'm going to maximize my area with less fencing. I know what we're talking about is sounding like all these random pieces, but I like this today because we don't think about all of these associations and connections and how important it is to teach these math skills in this perspective. So go ahead, Cheri, because I think I know exactly what you're going to do next. It's another point.
During Saturday math, Jonily brought up this comments about the square tilted 45 degrees. Kids don't know that is still a square.
Even if they see it tilted right in front of them.
Even if they see it tilted right in front of them, they cannot identify that is still a square. And there's also a whole lot of other mathematics that Jonily brought into the square that is tilted 45 degrees. But for now, think on that thought. One of the easier to write is the circle. However, the circle is much more complex mathematically. Look at the dichotomy. I often talk about literacy and the A, capital A, because of the diagonals, is the most difficult to write, whereas the A is the first sound that's coming out of a baby's mouth. Circle is one of the more easy lines to create logically, but is much more complex mathematically. Do you see this dichotomy that's happening all around us? How about this? Maybe I don't quite have my numbers lined up right. I was not trying to be perfect here, but what do I have in front of you? Somebody tell me more. What is it?
A clock.
A clock. Perfect. The 3 is at where the 3 typically goes for an analog clock. The 6 is where the 6 goes. This you're not going to see as often because of the way the hemispheres are made in our brain. However, how many of you have seen this?
This is a good connection and an assessment for me for kids that lack a number sense. When I have kids or I give them a circle and I have them write the numbers of the clock, whether I do this at a 3rd grade level or a 10th grade level, 7th grade level, I watch for which numbers they put first, second, and third and where they place those numbers. And that gives me an indication of their mathematical number sense. It's an assessment that I use frequently as one of my evidence pieces to see if they need instructional experiences to increase their schema on the clock and the placement of those numbers. Because if they do, they're going to struggle with percents, fraction, area, angles. They're going to struggle with all of those pieces later on.
Neurologically, this tells me a whole lot about the person's brain. The 12 is at midline, the 11 is at midline, and all the numbers are around to the left. Did anybody have anatomy, have enough anatomy in their history, in their science classes, to tell me what happens to your central nervous system when it compares to your peripheral nervous system? No? Amy's saying no. No to Sarah. The left side of your brain controls the right side of your body. The right side of your brain controls the left side of your body. So this is written down the left side. Down the left side, that would be the right brain. This is down the right side. That would be your left brain. I see brain syndrome as a result of a neurological injury. There's more potentially going on with that student that you probably didn't even think about.
To pull this back to pattern recognition and moving into launching our math task for today, I do want to say that pattern recognition, compared to all other mental abilities and capabilities, pattern recognition has the highest and strongest correlation to general IQ, general cognitive ability. Because in general IQ tests, cognitive ability tests, much of what they're assessing is pattern recognition. Analyzing how this child's brain operates is essential for grade instruction. And having said that, when we are thinking about pattern recognition, oftentimes in mathematics, we use patterns to teach the mathematics, which leaves a lot of kids out. Think about kids that say, oh, I'm good at math or I'm not good at math. And we're like, yeah, you're not good yet. But some of them never get good because we don't deliver it right. But those kids that have this natural knack for patterns in mathematics, they're able to then make associations and connections and access our grade level content much easier, much quicker than the kids that don't.
Join us for the next session of Tier 1 Interventions to hear more about pattern recognition. Before you go, listen to what we're offering for Christmas this year. It's going to be fun.
All right, Cheri, give us an unveiling of what you have been working so hard on and what we have to offer people. That's just fun.
Yes. This came totally out of left field and totally not in my thought process until I got something on Facebook one night that said, why don't you do this? And I'm like, but I can't. There's nothing we have to offer. We do. The first module that we recorded was called the pizza problem. What I've done is I've taken the pizza problem and I've turned it into one page. Quick start guides that you can just take the ideas, and I'm working on all of them. Okay. That's not it. That's not everything. I've also had to incorporate some ideas for writing. There's some ideas for writing. And on the back of that, there is a checklist on what to look for when you've got kids who have writing struggle, where the core issues might be. That's not all. For Christmas, but that's not all. We have some presents for you. Inside this little package is a little gift for you. We have gifts like this for you. Everybody needs stickers, right? One of them says, be kind. Where are they? Here they are. I am brilliant. So this goes along with, why do short pencils help our kids? If the kiddo, you gave a kiddo a pencil that says, I am brilliant, who's struggling, what does that tell them? Locker problem magnets. We found this amazing game. It has all of these colored stickers that are made out of squares. And there's a game that goes with it. We give you one copy and we tell you how to find some for the rest of your classroom. The teacher survival kit. You can use this bag for whatever you want. Plus, just for the holidays, we got some socks for you. Because you always want to come warm up by the fire, right? And I'm wearing them along with a bangle. So what is this? Buy one, gift one offer for you.
Premise is teachers are going through a lot right now. We're struggling. Sarah, you had the question of what are the best adaptable resources? So we've combined that question for each of the tasks, like what are the best adaptable resources for each of the tasks? We have a quick start guide. So it's all based on the tasks, but it's also based on teachers need to just take care of themselves. There's a combination of this, and it's called 3D. 3D, the three disabilities: dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. And it's relief in 3D so that we can get some relief for our struggling students, and then just fun relief for us, like good, fun gift for us. But this is like the, what is this whole thing? But what Cheri has right now is, and take it away, Cheri, because you've got this, like, how would you launch this, not only for yourself, but for someone else? Here's just a special packaging. So yeah, tell us about this, Cheri.
How many other 7th grade teachers, and I don't know if you guys do a gift exchange, but your Secret Santa gift could be right here, right now, and it could have stuff for your fellow teachers as well as something for you to put to the side. I talk about the pizza problem. We talk about the fuzzy socks, the jewelry. And then we also have on our brand new store, this is brand new, you guys are the first people to see it, our 2 books. The other thing is we have a new fax texting service. This is our text number. It's right down here. And I will be asking each one of you to send me a text that says, yes, please text me Tier 1 interventions information. I know we're coming to the very end. This is after a lot of you have hung up today, but use that phone number that's on that link. Text me, yes, I want Tier 1 interventions reminders via text message so that I can add you to the list and we can remind you that way as well.
We have a lot in store, a lot coming up, a lot to unveil. It's going to be an amazing year, not only with the Tier 1, but also with all of these additional things that we will have to offer. And some of the things we come out with, you guys will be gifted some of that for being Tier 1 members.
Have a great day.